My lawyer leaned across the polished mahogany table, lowered his voice, and said something I'll never forget. Alaric, if that footage ever gets out, it won't just destroy your case, he paused. It'll destroy your entire life. And the worst part, I was the one who recorded it. My name is Alaric Voss. And 3 months ago, I was living the kind of life people in Manhattan dream about but rarely touch. Penthouse, floor-to-ceiling glass, Central Park views that made sunsets feel like private shows. I wasn't born into money. I built it. Tech. Artificial intelligence infrastructure. The kind that powers half the apps people pretend they don't rely on. My company started in a cramped co-working space in San Francisco. 3 people. Bad coffee. Worse chairs. Now, we had offices in Los Angeles, Seattle, Boston, even a federal contract pipeline out of Washington, D.C. and my fiancée, Sloan Mercer. She was the only thing in my life that felt real. Sloan wasn't impressed by money. She came from old wealth in Palm Beach, but she carried it differently. Quiet, composed, dangerously observant. We met at a private investor dinner in Dallas. She didn't smile much, but when she did, it felt like she already knew something about you that you hadn't said out loud yet. That should have been my first warning, but I ignored it, because when everything in your life is controlled, predictable, curated, you start craving mystery. And Sloan was nothing but mystery. It started small, subtle, the kind of things you notice, but don't question, at least not at first. Sloan had a habit. Every night around 2:30 a.m., she'd get up not once, not occasionally, every single night. At first, I thought it was insomnia, jet lag, anxiety, whatever. But she didn't just walk around. She'd leave the bedroom quietly, close the door, and disappear for exactly 11 minutes. Always 11 minutes. Then she'd come back, slip into bed, and pretend like nothing happened. I tried asking her once. She smiled, said she liked watching the city at night, but something felt rehearsed about it, like she had practiced that answer. Then came the phone calls. She started stepping out onto the balcony to take them, whispering, never longer than 2 minutes. And every time I walked near the glass door, she'd hang up. One night, I caught a glimpse of her screen. No name, just a number. From Washington, D.C. That's when something inside me shifted. I didn't confront her. I didn't accuse. I watched. Because when you build companies worth hundreds of millions, you learn something important. Truth doesn't come from what people say. It comes from what they try to hide. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I installed cameras. Not everywhere. Just the living room, the hallway, and the private study. Places where secrets tend to slip. I told myself it was temporary, just until I understood what was going on. But deep down, I already knew. I just didn't want to admit it yet. The first few nights, nothing. Empty hallways, soft lighting, silence. Then, night 4, 2:30 a.m., she got up. Same routine, same quiet steps. But this time, she didn't go to the living room. She went to my study. The one room I never let anyone use. The one room that held every sensitive document, every deal, every draft contract tied to federal partnerships. I sat in the dark, watching the feed from my phone. My heartbeat, loud enough to feel in my throat. She walked in slowly, closed the door, and then, she didn't turn on the lights. She already knew exactly where everything was. That's when the unease turned into something colder, calculated. She walked straight to my desk, opened the 3rd drawer. No hesitation, no searching. She knew. She pulled out a sealed folder, the one labeled DC Acquisition Phase 2. My federal expansion file, the one tied to defense-level AI. Infrastructure. Restricted. Encrypted. Untouchable. She opened it like it belonged to her, and then she took pictures, page by page, methodical, precise, no rush. Like she had done this before. My hands went numb. I wasn't just watching betrayal. I was watching theft, corporate espionage, and the woman doing it was the one I was about to marry. I should have stopped it, should have stormed in, confronted her, but I didn't, because something told me this was bigger, much bigger. So I kept watching, and that decision is what ruined everything. The next night, she didn't go to the study. She went to the living room, sat down, and just waited for 10 minutes. Then her knock. To 24 a.m. Who shows up at a Manhattan penthouse at 2:24 a.m.? She walked to the door, didn't check the camera, didn't ask who it was. She opened it immediately, like she was expecting him. And when the door opened, I saw him. Tall, sharp, suit, calm, the kind of calm that doesn't come from confidence, but from control. He stepped inside, didn't say a word, And Sloan smiled. Not the soft smile she gave me. This one was different, colder, more familiar. He handed her a small black drive. She gave him the folder, the one from my study. And then, he said something that made my blood freeze. You're running out of time. Sloan, DC wants results. DC Washington. DC, this wasn't just betrayal. This was federal. I paused the footage, replayed it, again and again, hoping I heard it wrong. But I didn't. Sloan wasn't just stealing from me. She was working with someone inside the government, and I had no idea why, or how long it had been going on. But the worst part? What happened next? She turned toward the camera, walked closer, and for a second, it felt like she was looking straight at me. Then she said quietly, I know you're watching. My chest tightened. No, that wasn't possible. I checked the system logs. No breach. No alerts. Nothing. But then she did something I'll never forget. She reached behind the bookshelf, pulled out a device, something small, metallic, and disabled the camera. Clean, instant, like she had known exactly where. It was the entire time. I sat there, frozen, because in that moment, everything changed. I wasn't watching her anymore. She had been watching me. Hi friend, before we continue the story, kindly tell us where are you watching from and what time is it over there? And hit that subscribe button now so you won't miss out on next story tomorrow. Thanks, let's continue. The next morning, I confronted her. No games. No hesitation. I told her everything. The cameras, the footage, the man, the drive, all of it. She didn't panic, didn't deny, didn't even raise her voice. She just looked at me, calm, almost relieved, and said, you weren't supposed to find out like this. Like there was a better way to discover your fiancé was stealing classified information? I demanded answers, and what she told me still doesn't feel real. Sloan wasn't just Sloan. Her last name, not Mercer, not really. She had been placed in my life years ago, back when my company was still in San Francisco, back when we were small enough to monitor, but promising enough to matter. She was part of a private intelligence network, contracted, unofficial, working between government agencies and private interest in Washington, D.C. Her job, get close, gain trust, and when the time came, extract everything. My work, my data, my access, all of it. I felt sick, not just because she betrayed me, but because part of it was real, or at least I wanted it to be. I asked her one question. Did you ever actually love me? She didn't answer right away. And that silence? It said everything. Then came the part my lawyer warned me about, because what happened next wasn't in the footage I expected. It wasn't just theft. It wasn't just betrayal. It was something far worse. Sloan told me the man from the footage wasn't her handler. He was my replacement, someone already lined up to take over my company. Once I was removed, that word hit different. I asked her what that meant, and she finally broke. Just a little. They don't want you fighting this, Alaric. They want you gone. Gone. Not bankrupt. Not exposed. Gone. And suddenly, the footage didn't feel like evidence anymore. It felt like a warning. That same night, everything escalated. Fast to fast. I got a call from my legal team in Boston. Emergency injunctions, account freezes, federal inquiries, everything collapsing at once. Like dominoes falling perfectly in line. Too perfectly. I knew then. This had been planned for a long time, and I had walked straight into it. But the worst part? It wasn't the legal threats. It wasn't the money. It was the final piece of footage. The one I didn't see until later. The one my lawyer begged me to bury. Because in that footage, it wasn't Sloan stealing. It wasn't the man from DC, it was me, standing in my own study, handing over the drive. Willingly, calm, composed, like I knew exactly what I was doing. But I didn't remember any of it. That's when everything clicked. The late nights, the missing time, the strange calm I couldn't explain some mornings. I hadn't just been betrayed. I had been used, conditioned, manipulated, maybe even drugged. The footage didn't just expose Sloan. It implicated me, legally, criminally, irreversibly. If that video ever went public, it wouldn't matter what she did. I'd be finished. That's why my lawyer told me to bury it. Because sometimes, the truth doesn't set you free. It destroys you. Sloan disappeared 2 days later. No trace, no records. Like she was never real. The case, still open, still circling, still waiting. And me? I sold everything. Left Manhattan. No penthouse. No company. No certainty. Just questions. And one piece of footage. locked away, untouched, unseen, because some truths aren't meant to be revealed, and some betrayals don't come from your enemies. They come from the people who know exactly how to get close enough to rewrite who you are. And if there's one thing I learned from all of this, it's this. The most dangerous secrets aren't the ones people hide from you. They're the ones they make you believe were your idea all along.